So, we bought a boat, a pretty old boat, and it's kind of in a different country. So yeah, there is a lot to unpack here. In case you don't know me, my name is Kalle. I am a boat builder from Finland. I also love sailing and photography, and the story of this boat begins last summer. Me and my partner Anne-Marie had grown a bit tired of the lack of space in our H-boat that we had previously, which was a 27-foot boat. We used this to cruise around the Finnish archipelago, and we also found that the lack of toilet was kind of problematic. We put it up for sale, and then for a while we thought that okay, maybe we won't get another boat. Maybe we'll go a year and see how it goes. But then around Christmas, I was just perusing through the ads of boats for sale, and then I suddenly noticed this advert for a project boat. It was just one picture of a boat, mostly covered with a tarp, very little details in the posts, apart from it's been sitting on the hard for many years and the teak deck has been removed. And I looked at some pictures of ones that had been, or were in good condition, and I absolutely fell in love with the lines. There was just something so nice about it. It's just was very much to my taste, very classic, and the problem was that the boat was in Sweden and it was a project, and I basically decided at this point that there's no way. I think I might have quickly shown it to Anne-Marie, who also just kind of laughed and didn't really say anything, and then I just sort of forgot about it, or so I thought. I kept on kind of going back to the ad, and I was seeing that it's still for sale, and then at some point I started doing a bit more research, and I don't know, I figured that okay, well, if it's not in such bad condition, if it's only the teak deck and maybe the usual stuff that you have with old boats that have been sitting out for a long time, then maybe it could be an actual option. Somehow after the winter I started to warm up to the idea of a project. So I sort of approached Anne-Marie with this, and she surprisingly was into the idea. So I started thinking about it like for real. It was for sale on like the second-hand site, and you need like Swedish bank account in order to register for an account there. Well, my colleague's grandfather lived in Sweden, and so he said that he could probably put a message through. And I got kind of excited, so I started digging more about like how the boat was constructed, and like all the information that I could find was on the website of the maker of the boat, which is kind of incredible that they still have information on all the older models. They have like old brochures and pictures and some plans as well. So some of the things that I found out was that the hull was pure laminate, which is excellent. There's no sandwich. The deck was sandwiched, but it was sandwiched with some polyurethane. But the most important thing that I found was that the teak deck is sort of laid into the mold of the deck. So there's like notches or like, I don't know, holes where they lay the strips of teak on top of the deck, and then they glue it on with something. So basically it means that there's no screws, which means that there's no holes for water to get into, well, the sandwich material in the deck and also into the interior. That was pretty cool. It's not really a technique that you come across often, especially on such an old boat. I mean, mind you, this is a boat from 1971. So I got really excited actually at this point. And one day I wake up and this advert is just gone, disappeared. I was quite sad. Yeah, and I asked my friend, and turns out that he couldn't get the message through in time. So basically I had no way to contact the owner anymore. Then Anne-Marie was like, wait, okay, but you know the name and you know the type of the boat, so let's just do like a Google deep dive. And she ended up finding a Facebook page of these boats, and the owner had put it up for sale there. And we found him through just his like first name and like the model of the boat. So I got really excited. I sent a message to the owner and very politely asked if it's still for sale. I think I might have sent like 2 messages, like long ones, just in case he didn't get the first one. Yeah, it was just 1 word reply from the owner to my massive wall of text, and it was just sold. I tried to shrug it off, but I was pretty bummed out about it, to be honest. I don't know, I just gotten really excited about the idea of having a project like this. And then my phone pinged again. It was the owner, and he was like, okay, maybe it's not sold. The prospective buyer had apparently backed out. Yeah, I pretty much leaped for joy at that point. I thought, yes, okay, this is meant to be, this has to be it, you know. And then in March we booked tickets to and go and see the boat. So that was quite exciting. On a very cold day in March, we found ourselves in a place called Stegeborg, at the end of the many rows of boats that had been abandoned in that yard. We found the unmistakable lines of the boat that I had been drooling over the last few months. So I brought a moisture meter with me, and I was just going through everything that I could to make sure that there wasn't any, surprises. Yeah, it seemed to be in good shape, actually, structurally. Aesthetically, not so much, but the owner had bought it in 2018. He'd taken off the worn out teak with the intent of painting the deck or replacing it, I don't know. And then unfortunately he got sick, so he couldn't really work on the project anymore. And then after that he got another boat, so this one's just sort of had been sitting in the yard for 6 years. The varnished teak on the exterior had taken quite a big hit. The engine was a Vetus diesel from 2008. And it was still in quite good condition. I didn't want to let this boat slip away again, so I had brought a contract with me. I had done everything, and I was just like, okay, here's my offer, let's sign the papers. And he was just like, yeah, whatever, and just like his name on the paper. And so yeah, that is how we became the owners of Mistress.